In February 1950, in Sanqing Village, Chengnan Township, now Shaoshan Village in Qianan Township, 5 li from the county seat of Chu County, on a small slope there was a modest wheat field, with seedlings just over 2 inches tall. The closest resident was Old Man Lu, already in his 70s. Due to the cold weather, he had caught a cold and was bedridden. But his hearing was sharp, and he could clearly make out even faint sounds from outside. Starting from some unknown day, he noticed packs of wild dogs barking madly behind his house, startling the 2 pigs in his pen into panic. For several days the dogs didn't stop, so he couldn't help asking his son who had come to visit. The son wasn't sure and casually replied, "Probably fighting over mates." Old Man Lu listened with some doubt. After resting for 10 days, he was finally able to get out of bed. Early that morning he went to the spot where the dogs gathered, and was shocked to find a human mandible there. But since liberation had just occurred, Old Man Lu had seen stranger things and didn't think much of it. Speaking of Sanqing Village in Chengnan Township, one must mention Duan Dengshi. She was a woman renowned far and wide. At 16, she married into the Duan family. She had just given birth to a son and a daughter when her husband fell ill and soon passed away. That year, Duan Dengshi was not yet 30. She had been shrewd since childhood and knew that for a widow with young children to survive in this place, she had to be ruthless enough. From then on, she lived and acted by those 4 words. In the blink of an eye, over a decade passed, and by the time of liberation, Chu County was liberated on December 12, 1949. She had not only preserved the Duan family ancestral property, but also started a new liquor distillery. Her grown eldest daughter, Duan Zhongmin, had inherited much from her mother: sharp in business, cunning in calculations. She handled purchasing raw materials for brewing, selling the finished product, haggling prices, and navigating the markets all by herself, never making a mistake. Yet this heroine among women remained unmarried at 30. It turned out that as a child, she had contracted smallpox, leaving pockmarks on her face. Having traveled widely and seen much, she knew well how crucial a woman's appearance was in the eyes of in-laws and husbands. Thus, she strongly avoided any marriage proposals, and Duan Dengshi, seeing this, didn't bring it up. Just as Old Man Lu quietly returned home and told his son and daughter-in-law what he had seen, news suddenly spread from the Duan household. The Duan family's eldest daughter has eloped with money. Old Man Lu's son and daughter-in-law went to see. Upon returning, they told the old man that Duan Dengshi had fainted from crying several times. Holding her young son's hand, she told relatives and neighbors, "That heartless whore. I remember it was the 16th of the first month, February 2, 1950. She took the money, saying she was going to the market to buy grain, but who knew she had the idea to elope? She's been at the market until today, this today being February 15, 1950, the 29th of the 12th lunar month in the Icho year. And there's not even a shadow. I asked from the south gate to the north gate in town, and everyone shook their heads saying they hadn't seen her. This morning, preparing some New Year's money for the kids coming to pay respects, I searched every box and cabinet in her room. Oh heavens! Not a single coin left. Damn it, if you're running off with a wild man, at least don't be so ruthless." Wah. My son and I will have to beg for food now. At the dawn of the new republic, the party and government's work was not yet fully established, and with frequent population movement, Miss Duan's elopement became mere gossip among neighbors, with no one investigating deeply. However, Old Man Lu always felt an inexplicable doubt, because that wheat field belonged to Duan Dengshi. Speaking of the eloped Duan Zhongmin, the women's cadre he Biqing, stationed in the village, had a deep impression of her. When organizing women to learn the song, without the Communist Party, there would be no new China. She noticed Duan Zhongmin had an excellent memory, was outgoing and impressive, and had great eloquence, so she listed her as a target for development into an activist. After the Spring Festival, returning to the village, she found no trace of the girl. Upon inquiring, she learned Duan Zhongmin had eloped at the end of the previous lunar year. She felt regret for a while. She thought of visiting the Duan home to console them, but recalling several encounters with Duan Dengshi, each leaving an impression of this nearly 50-year-old woman's domineering nature, plus the upcoming grain requisition work requiring much preparation, she set it aside. That day, passing the Duan courtyard, He Biqing ran into a young man who looked quite like Duan Zhongmin. A companion told her it was Duan's younger brother, named Duan Zhongqing. He smiled and greeted him, but Duan Zhongqing was timid, stammering and inarticulate, completely different from his sister. At parting, he still asked Duan Zhongqing to pass a message to his mother. Not to be too angry, now that the whole country was liberated, news would come eventually. She especially emphasized that the people's government firmly protected free marriage. Turning past the bamboo grove in the Duan courtyard, He Biqing couldn't help looking back at Duan Zhongqing. At that moment, she saw Duan Dengshi standing by the dam, gesturing and saying something to her son, as if scolding him. A few days later, on a drizzly spring night, He Biqing was handling some chores in her lodging, a side room in the Duan ancestral hall. Knock. Knock. Someone knocked on the door. He waited alertly for a while without responding. Knock knock. The door was knocked again, more urgently but softly. Who is it? He asked. Comrade He Biqing, it's me, Duan Zhongqing. What do you want? It's so late, say it tomorrow. Comrade He, I have something important to tell you. After thinking for a moment, based on previous impressions, he believed Duan Zhongqing was not ill-intentioned, so she opened the door. Under the kerosene lamp, Duan Zhongqing was soaked through, his pant legs muddy, trembling uncontrollably, stammering. See, comrade, he and my sister was strangled by my mom. He Biqing was startled, and before she could ask more, Duan Zhongqing said fearfully, and my mom seems to have found out I know, as if she might strangle me too. He Biqing poured him a bowl of hot water, comforting him while explaining the Communist Party's laws. Gradually, Duan Zhongqing revealed everything he had seen. When seeing him out, He Biqing instructed, do not tell anyone, and to be cautious everywhere. Duan Zhongqing trusted He Biqing deeply, moved by her approachable attitude, and as he left, he said something like, I heard old man Lu encountered something strange. The next day, He Biqing visited the Lu home. The rain hadn't stopped, and the Lu family sat idly in the main room. He gradually steered the conversation toward the Duan family. Old man Lu was a lifelong resident of Sanqing village and knew Duan Dengshi's rise intimately. Moved by his sincere trust, he finally poured out all his doubts. In the afternoon, the sky cleared. To prove his words, old man Lu offered to lead He Biqing to see the wheat field. So he followed the old man and his supporting son up to the land belonging to Duan Dengshi. As old man Lu said, though the mandible had shifted, it was still in a nearby sand pit. A breeze passed, carrying a foul stench that made one want to vomit. Seeing the matter serious, that afternoon He Biqing trudged muddy paths to report at the 1st District, now suburban area, office. District Commissioner Jiang Yongchang and District Head Sun Chuanhai urgently discussed, deciding to send cultural and educational cadre Chen Jianan back, with He Biqing to Sanqing village for strict surveillance of Duan Dengshi, and quickly report to the County Public Security Bureau. The newly appointed head Ding Huaman decisively led an armed squad platoon straight to the Duan courtyard. During overnight interrogation there, Chen Jianan was assigned as recorder. A horrific, inhuman case of a mother killing her own daughter was thus brought to light. Duan Dengshi had been widowed in her 20s and inevitably had affairs. Her lover was a clan uncle who had served as a baozhang. Over time, neighbors heard rumors. As Duan Zhongmin grew up and understood, she was quite angry at her mother's immoral behavior. But for the sake of mother-daughter ties, family scandals shouldn't be aired. And knowing her mother's fierce temper, she restrained herself. February 2nd, 1950, the 16th of the 12th lunar month in the Jiqiu year, was the last market day of the lunar year. After that day, by custom, all shops, households, and hired workers settled accounts with drinks, went home for the new year, and didn't return until the 16th of the first month the next year. Duan Zhongmin went to town early that morning to collect debts and also to solicit more customers during gatherings at restaurants. That day, she negotiated business while toasting everywhere. Wherever a table was set, she was pulled in to drink and celebrate. She was used to such occasions and had a high tolerance. By the time she returned home, it was midnight. Pushing the door, She vaguely saw a burly man hurriedly vanishing into the darkness from her mother's bedroom door. Fueled by alcohol, old resentments burst out. At your age, still not restraining yourself. Duan Dengshi, her secret exposed, cursed viciously. Coming home in the dead of night. Who's the wild man holding you up? Duan Zhongmin retorted without weakness. Learned from you. Then turned to her room to sleep. The 3 distillers hired by the Duan family had eaten their settlement meal at noon and taken wages home. The large courtyard had only the mother and her 2 children left, utterly silent. Duan Dengshi sat alone on a wooden chair in the main room, thinking in the dark of her daughter's defiance and future hardships. Murderous intent arose. She knew no one had seen Duan Zhongmin return late, and her daughter slept deeply after drinking. First, she quietly listened at her son Duan Zhongqing's door. He was sound asleep. Then back to her room. She took out 2 large bundles of foot-binding cloth used for her 3-inch golden lotuses, stealthily entering her daughter's room. On the night of the 16th, faint moonlight shone through the open window on the sleeping girl's face. Duan Dengshi gritted her teeth, fashioned loops from the cloth like those for joining spinning threads in the countryside, gently fastening one around her daughter's feet and tying the other end to the bedpost. With the other loop, she slowly lifted her daughter's head and slipped it around her neck. After setting it, she carefully checked every part, deeming it foolproof, then latched the door tightly, rolled up sleeves, braced with feet on the neck end, the other tied to her wrists. With a pull, the noose tightened fiercely. Duan Zhongmin suddenly thrashed in asphyxiation, but her feet were fixed, her head increasingly strangled by the tightening cloth, only flailing hands, soon foaming blood at the mouth, motionless. Duan Dengshi neatly murdered her daughter, but overlooked not latching her son's door. During the act, she had woken Duan Zhongqing. The boy saw his cruel mother's deeds through the sister's door crack, but timid since childhood, he dared not rescue, only returning to his room to weep silently. Duan Dengshi wrapped the corpse tightly in bedding and locked the daughter's door. Early next morning, pretending to ask her son, "Did your sister not return from the market yesterday?" Duan Zhongqing stared blankly at his mother, speechless. Later, Duan Dengshi asked everyone about her daughter's news. Then elopement spread. On the 3rd of the first month, February 19, 1950, she had her son carry a pork hock and 2 bottles of liquor to his uncle's for New Year's, telling him to stay a few more days. That afternoon, she locked the gates, spread a bamboo mat for drying distillers' grains on Duan Zhongqing's room floor, stripped the stiffened corpse, placed it on the mat, then with a sharp pigweed chopper dismembered it into pieces, loaded into baskets. That night, she fired up the coal stove idle for half a month for steaming grains, mixed the pieces with dry broad bean leaves and rape leaves for pig feed, sealed in barrels, steamed with high fire like grains until midnight. Next morning, she dumped the still warm paste-like pig slop into the trough for 6 or 7 large pigs to devour. Households with distilleries fed many pigs on grains. When only bones remained in the trough, Duan Dengshi collected them into a large jar and buried it deep in the rear bamboo grove. Anything with blood or odor was burned. Duan Zhongqing returned from New Year's visits. Duan Dengshi was overjoyed, calling Zhongqing endlessly. She cooked a large piece of cured pork, saying, "Zhongqing, the wheat field next to the loos hasn't been fertilized yet. This afternoon the sun's good, dew's dry. I'll scoop, you carry, let's pour the manure." Duan Zhongqing was always obedient before his mother. The pair got to work. Unbeknownst to Duan Dengshi, on the last load, she mistakenly scooped a mandible the pigs had unearthed from the cesspool, thinking it pig dung, into the bucket. Duan Zhongqing, on the last carry as dusk fell, dumped the half-bucket on a row of yellower seedlings by the field edge, leaving the mandible there. Even less did she expect that manure odor fades easily, but the stench of human flesh lingers long. Back home, visions of his sister's tragic end haunted Duan Zhongqing. He became dazed, trembling often, talking in sleep. Duan Dengshi noticed, first asking what he heard or saw. Later she snarled, "If you think and talk nonsense, humph." Frightened, Duan Zhongqing quietly sought he beaching on a rainy night to tell the truth.